Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where I want to celebrate Rick Beato's recent birthday. I believe he turned 63 and I did write this down. I don't usually do that, but because we love Rick, I will get it accurate. He turned 63 on the 24th of April. Now, Rick Beato is someone that I think will long be remembered, and obviously he's still going strong, but I think he'll be long remembered for someone who was vital in changing the way we think of music journalism. Now, the biggest problem with music journalism, for as long as I can remember, is that it was journalism about music conducted by people who sometimes didn't know much about music, and at smaller media outlets, it may even be conducted by someone who doesn't even really like music all that much. Like, who could not like music? Well, if you're going to be a music journalist, frankly, you should either have musical skill, be a fully fledged musician, or at least be really, really into music. But a lot of the times, the same guy doing a restaurant review on Monday and a review of the new brand of shoes on Tuesday would be reviewing a new album or going to a concert on Wednesday. And that really didn't suffice. Now, Rick Beato has taken commentary, criticism, education, and traditional styles of journalism and combined them into something radically different. And what's most different about it is that it's all based around the authentic musical skill and knowledge of one guy, Rick himself. It's about his knowledge of music theory, his knowledge of composition, of guitar, piano, drums, bass, other instruments, and the fact that he's a genuine fan of so many great musicians. And because he, like any good sort of video journalist should have, he's got charisma and he's eloquent and all that. Something interesting has started to happen, or it started to happen a few years back, which is that major musicians who are big solo artists, members of well-known bands, prolific session players, they are now people who love to go onto his show and be interviewed by him. And one of the things that just fills me as a sort of semi-retired musician, if you will, but someone who it's like falling off a bicycle. You never forget it. So as a musician and a music lover, one of the things that really heartens me every time I hear one of his interviews is when a musician goes, "Oh, I hate interviews, but I love this. I want to be interviewed by you, Rick, because I want to talk about music." And you'll ask all of these interesting questions and you'll bring stuff up that I haven't ever maybe thought about my philosophy to composition or my approach to playing. And that to me is what really sets Rick apart from the people who came before him. So many so-called music journalists are all about gossip. Who did you meet backstage? What substances did you do? I mean, I get it. Some people care about that, but the people that are super into music really don't. We care about, oh, okay, what sort of effects pedals were you using with your Les Paul on that recording? Was this recorded with an 8 track or 16 track? Because it was done in 71, right when, you had studios sort of switching over. What kind of drum heads did you use during this concert tour? Stuff like that, stuff that people that, the mainstream outlets would never really even know to inquire about. And these are the kinds of things that Rick Beato delves into. They're the kinds of things where if you met your favorite artist at a bar or something and you'd buy him a drink and you'd interrogate them about all of this stuff that to a musician is really, really interesting. And I think that it's the beauty of the internet because Rick Beato is someone who could have and should have had his own TV or radio show back before the internet, but he didn't, even though he was a respected professional in the music industry and in the education sector for years. And that just goes to show you something else, both about journalism and about sort of content more widely. Frank Zappa said it best. He was interviewed on MTV, which he was very critical of, and he talked about music executives, and he said that the music executives of the 80s were worse than the ones of the late 50s and early 60s because they thought they knew it all. He said that the guys in the sort of late 50s, early 60s, when rock and other sort of new styles of music were coming out and appealing to young people, he said it would be an older guy from the previous generation. He'd be wearing a suit and chomping on a cigar, and he'd say, "Well, hell, I don't know what any of this shit is, but give him a contract, put out a couple of records, see if it sells." And that's at least honest. He's saying, look, the guy's got long hair, the kids have long hair, people seem to go to his gigs at the local clubs. Give him a small contract, see what happens. In other words, give people a chance even though you can't personally relate to the kind of music they're putting out. I like that. I love giving artists a chance. It's what all artists frankly deserve. By the time you got to the 80s, Zappa said that now you had the yuppies come in, the sort of boomers in early adulthood, and they were saying, well, I know what the kids like best. I'm the expert, trust me. And that's not true because you really don't ever know what your audience likes. There's no way to guess whether it's about presenting them musical content or comedy or education or fashion or whatever. The audience will know what they like when they see it. And the beauty of the internet is that it's allowed people like Rick to say, look, this is what I have to say. This is what I want to do. Take it or leave it. And in Rick's case, because the enthusiasm and the knowledge and the background is so strongly there, everybody has come to love it. So happy birthday, Rick Beato, and thanks for all you do on your platform. As always, like and subscribe to this channel if you wish, and we'll see you next time. Take care.